There are many ways off-ball screens can be used in the BDT offense. The screen away will probably be the most frequently used type of off-ball screening action within the offense. Here we can see an example with Korver coming off the wide screen away. This can be done in different locations, with the screen away here happening in the middle of the floor. We will look at these reads later on in the video. Flare screens are also a very effective way to screen off the ball. These are included in some of our post reactions. Staggers are simply two screenaways combined together. This is something the Bucks have frequently utilized in their offense over the last 2 years. Down screens are also known as pin downs. These are more traditional screening angles which we see in floppy type alignments. We will not utilize these that much in the BDT offense for reasons I will explain later. Back screens are very effective and can be used with shuffle cuts to get open cutting opportunities. They will also typically be used to flow into other triggers. Pin-ins are included here as a solution for teams that typically end up with 3-side spacing. They can also be used effectively out of transition for teams that load back deep into the paint. Zippers are down screens, but one set on the keyline extended, allowing an off-ball player to cut up the lane. These are included because they are a common entry to many sets at the highest levels of the game, particularly used out of side and baseline out of bounds. A ram screen is used to create separation for a player coming for a get action, or more typically a pick and roll. This is because it compromises the coverage. By screening the defender of the player going to set the pick, it makes them arrive late, meaning they are not able to use a primary coverage such as a hedge. The wedge is exactly the same concept, but the screen is at a different angle parallel to the sideline. This will more commonly be used when the pick is out of a Shakes pick and roll spacing on the side. This serves for exactly the same reason as the ram screen, to create separation for the ball screener to arrive alone. Now let's take a look at the reads for the receiver, i.e. the player who is receiving the off-ball screen. On the screen away, the player goes backdoor as a result of the defense making it dirty. This is a great solution anytime that defender overplays or attempts to top lock. Here we can see the same situation off the stagger. All these reads have been named with the same terms, so that regardless of the off-ball screening action used, the same terminology such as backdoor, pop, curl is all used regardless of what type of off-ball screening action is used. Not every backdoor cut has to be made with the intent to score. Here it just distorts the defense, allowing them to flow into another trigger. Therefore, backdoor reads can sometimes just be scripted to distort the defense. Here we see the same backdoor read used off an elevator action. Here, with the defense top locking, if players understand the importance of dynamic one-on-one, they will be able to read the situation regardless and make a great read. Here you can see an example of the same terminology with the backdoor cut made off the back screen. This is a great example of the importance of terminology pairing to help your players understand key concepts. Now let's look at the curl. This typically occurs when the defense lock and trail. We can see 3 curls in this clip, with the last curl being the scoring one. Within the offense, you can see I differentiated between a tight curl and a wide curl. Here, the curl is a little bit wider because the defender of the screener steps out to try and guard 2. This is where it is important for the screener to roll to the basket to also potentially receive the ball. When coming off the curl, players could receive it early or late. It is important to keep cutting because if the defense is behind, the offense may still get you the ball late for an easy score. We must remember there are no absolutes. For instance, here the curl is used even when the defender goes under as opposed to lock and trailing. It's a good solution that still works. If you have a shooting screener, they may wish to pop on a curl in case the attention of the curl draws both defenders. If the ball goes to the curler, they should still follow the ball in case there's a putback and an opportunity to rebound and go straight back up. Curling does not just have to happen as cuts. especially if the pass is made early off the curl. If players have an advantage with the defender on the back, they may wish to keep driving to the rim. As with the backdoor, curls do not always have to be made to get direct scoring opportunities. Here, the curl distorts the defense before applying Rule 3 of dominoes by getting out to space. This allows the offense to flow into the next trigger. Of this down screen, we see a wide curl being used as the defender of the screener shows out to disrupt and take away the tight curl. In opportunities like this, depending on where the screen is set, a slip can be a good option for the screener as their defender will not be able to recover. In this clip, we see the screener pops out to receive the ball. Still a good solution. They do miss an opportunity for dominoes, but do a good job flowing into the next shovel DHO trigger. Again, the curl read applies to other types of off-ball screen. Here we see off the flare, the defender locks and trails, resulting in the curl. The empty side spacing allows for this alley-oop to be made. Now you can see the curl used off the back screen. Again, the defender is either caught in the screen or trailing the play, resulting in a great shot right under the basket. Now let's take a look at the pop read. This will typically happen if the defense go under and shoot the gap, or if they get caught in the screen. This is why the importance of where the screen is set is critical to allow players to catch it outside the three-point line and in range. Players don't need the same amounts of separation for it to be a good rob shot. Elite shooters such as Korver only need a smallest of windows to get it off, and the separation can be made even bigger by taking an extra dribble for players that are comfortable doing so. The rhythm and the preliminary action into the shot is important. This is where technical aspects such as use of footwork and a 1-2 can be looked at. The best shooters seem to keep their motion, and using a zero step with modern rules can help get extra separation. Here we see the pop read off the flare. This would be even better if it was caught outside the three to get a higher value shot. You can see that being done on the back screen as the defender tries to go underneath, resulting in the pop out to space, an open three. The pop will obviously differ based on the screening action, such as the down screen being used here. This is where it's important to work on the same reads and coverage solutions out of many different screening actions. In this clip from Fenerbahce, again we can see a good pop with separation caused from the defender getting caught in the screen. This is why sending a good wide screen helps in allowing shooters to get extra separation. It is interesting watching the footwork. This is incredibly important to see what players do naturally and figure out what is comfortable for each player in different situations. Screeners may wish to adjust their screening angles if defenders try and shoot the gap. Just be careful of offensive fouls being called if this consistently happens. Something important for the passer to look at is creating space for the handler on a pop. Here, one defender is able to guard two because the passer doesn't create separation with a push. This results in a lower value shot being taken. The last three reads are less common. The wiggle cut is when we use an off-ball screen in the opposite direction, possibly as a solution for being top locked. The seal can work very effectively if there is a size advantage. Here we see Thompson is top blocked by Mills, resulting in the seal and easy pass over the top. Another nice read you may wish to incorporate is a screen the screener. This could be done conceptually if the player coming off doesn't have advantage for a shot. This is great if putting a shooter into a stagger in particular. Now let's take a look at some reads and cues for the screener. The first one is the slip. If no screen is needed and we have an advantage, we can look for that. This can typically be done if the screener spots a big window to the basket and if their defender is out of position. Slips in particular are a great solution for teams that switch. Let's see how screener and receiver reads combine. Here Curry curls with his defender lock and trailing. The screener now slips with his defender going towards Curry as a result to the curl bringing that defender with him. This is very important to consider how these dynamics work in unison to result in great offensive solutions. A good slip is used here, but the defense get back to neutral. Being able to flow into something else in situations like this is important to consider within your offense. If the player stays in the action by screening as opposed to slipping, for instance, the decision to roll quickly can put great pressure on the basket. Popping could also be a solution if the receiver curls or goes backdoor. If the screener has gravity, this can bring their defender with them, opening up room on the curl. Holding the screen could also be particularly effective if the defense switch. Here you can see off the back screen, holding keeps that defender on the high side before resulting in the easy roll. Here we can see the same situation off the flare, holding contact for a second longer before rolling, keeping that defender on the high side. Screening your own is another tactical solution to punish switching. If players while setting a screen anticipate the switch, they can screen their own to get an open shot. As this happens, if the defense anticipate what is happening, they may revert to their normal matchup. This is where rolling is a great solution, starting domino sequences. As with pick and roll, screeners have many different things they can do in terms of angle of the screens. Here the flip takes the screen away into a flare. This could also be done, for instance, to turn a screen away into a back screen. The touch screen, as with pick and roll, can be done off flare screens in particular. This is a great solution for teams that switch. The screener will touch the underside of the defender switching onto them to activate the coverage. Just be sure this is not a push-off to avoid an offensive foul. The last option we have is the Ricky, the rescreen. This is different to a flip because the receiver will come off the first screen, not receive the ball, and then immediately flow into another rescreening action. This can also be done conceptually if there is not a shot coming off the first off-ball screen.